Good day everyone, this is Avatr 11. This car recently had an update. There are several options added, the autopilot system updated and modified, but the most important and most remarkable change is these zero gravity seats. They are both for passenger, which is actually quite normal, but they also have it for the driver seats, which is quite unique on the market, and in the combination with the autopilot system, this might be a really nice feature for the long-term driving on the highway. This is a paid option, but currently it's for free. Also some colors added, like this one, it's also paid. Also some colors disappeared. But today we will make video for another car. Avatr 11 was the first car of the brand, and today we make the video of the Avatr 12, the second car of the brand, and it's a large saloon car with the length more than 5 meters, 5 meters and 2 centimeters, and the wheelbase more than 3 meters. And by the way, soon coming the range extended version with 1.5 liter petrol engine, but today we will talk only about the pure electric car. Avatr 11 and Avatr 12 built on the same platform CNH from Avatr, and they share a lot of similar components. The motors here are developed by Huawei, they have oil cooling, a lot of other electronics developed by Huawei, and it's exactly same with same index and part numbers as there. In this car we have the autopilot system from Huawei, which contains 29 different sensors, including camera, ultrasonic millimeter wave radars, and of course the lidar system. The platform here is a typical skateboard platform, which is very easy to change the wheelbase, to put different batteries inside. The front suspension is the double wishbone suspension. The rear suspension is the multi-arm suspension. But this car, despite from Avatr 11, it may have the air suspension. So this is the question, which car is actually the flagship of the model range? Here we have air suspension. Here the car is a little bit more longer and maybe looking more luxury, but there in Avatr 11 we have the 116 kilowatt hours battery, which is much bigger than the battery here, which is only 94.5, and the price in the top version, that car and this car, is almost same, but Avatr 11 is a little bit more expensive. The battery here comes from CATL, and CATL is, by the way, the shareholder of Avatr. The battery is one of the last generations with the 800 watt platform, also includes the cell-to-pack technology, which means that the battery cells are put directly into the battery pack without any modules. In terms of technical parameters, we have two versions. The one is rear-wheel drive with single motor, 313 horsepower, 370 newton meters of torque, and acceleration from 0 to 100 in 6.7 seconds. With the 94.5 kilowatt W8 kilowatt hours battery, this car can do 700 kilometers by CLTC cycle. The other version is a four-wheel drive with two motors, 578 horsepower, 650 newton meters of torque, and the acceleration from 0 to 100 in 3.9. Avatr claimed that such car can do 650 kilometers in CLTC cycle. In terms of equipment, we have four versions on the Chinese market. Two versions is single motor and two versions is double motor. And now on this example, which is the single motor top version, I will show you all the features which can be in the different versions of this car and cannot be as well. And we will start from the wheels. These are 20-inch wheels, which are standard for all the versions except the top version four-wheel drive GT. For extra money, you can add 21-inch wheels with a sport brakes, but in the basic version with one motor, you cannot add this option at all. Here we have the sensor for the Huawei lidar system, and as I told you, this car has 29 sensors of the autopilot system, and in the last version of Avatr 12, all the versions, all the models without any extra fee has the full complex of autopilot system, including the blind spot monitoring, including the assistance with line changing, and of course adaptive cruise control, and so on. These are the mirrors, which basically can be replaced by a camera, rear view camera with the screens right here, but this option is very contradictory as for me, because when you open the door, for example, the camera will look somewhere here. Also, basically the angle of view of the cameras is not super good as in the mirrors, but it's up to your taste. I just can say that this option cannot be added to the basic version, but in all other versions it can be added. In the four-wheel drive GT version it is already presented by default, and this option is quite good for the aerodynamics of the car, and of course it makes it look even more futuristic. This design is basically awesome, and I must say that the design of this car and also Avatr 11 is made by Nazir Fagizadeh. It's a former chef designer of BMW, and also he worked in Audi. He made a lot of BMW, which you currently see on the contemporary road. Here we go to the doors, and we have the electric suction doors in all the version except the basic car without any extra fee. Also, you can add the electric automatic doors, same in Avatr 11. You cannot add them to basic version as well, but in all other versions you can add them, and in the GT version, 650 GT version, they will be by default. The huge panoramic sunroof, which has the windshield, which ends right here at the B pillar, also is a standard equipment together with the cameras 360. And if we go to the rear part of the car, here we have the rear electric spoiler, which can be switched on automatically with the sport mode or manually, and this is also the standard equipment without any extra fee. One more option which can be added, and it's quite weird, is the hello screen, which costs about 20,000 RMB, which is almost 3,000 USD, and basically there is no practical function. It can show you only the charging status when the car is being charged, but also it can show some words which you can type in from your touch screen inside of your cockpit. The basic version cannot have this option, and the top four-wheel drive version have this option by default. The only remaining not mentioned thing in the exterior is the Sport Appearance Kit, which costs only about 900 USD, and Avatr claims that this is really very good for the downforce of the car, for the aerodynamics of the car, and in my opinion it makes the car looks better. In conclusion, this car has four versions. The basic version with single motor doesn't have many options to make this car basically quite cheap. It's only about $26,000 in the official dealer store in China. The top version four-wheel drive is actually the same pre-top version four-wheel drive, but it has included all the paid options, and you should consider if you really need many of the options which are included in the four-wheel drive GT version, such as electric doors and the hello screen. All the other differences we have inside of the car, and let me show them to you. Inside, all the versions except basic will look the same. We have the three types of color scheme for these wheels. This is Napa leather seats with heating, ventilation and massage for the first row, and also the zero gravity seats for the driver and passenger for the first row as well. In the basic version we will have only the black faux leather without any ventilation or massage. It will be only heating for the first row. The gauge screen is a record in the market. It is 35.4 inch of the diagonal, and here we have the normal 15.6 inch touchscreen with the Harmony OS system, which is very responsive, very fast, and I really like to use it. All the versions have this premium audio system from Avatr with 27 speakers and a 1200 watt subwoofer in the trunk. Several not typical features of this interior: the steering of the glass lifters we have right here under the central touchscreen. In the left side I have the steering of the left side windows, in the right side of the right side windows, and the first row glass we have the multi-layered soundproof glass. Each door has this quite not typical pocket, which I personally like. All the versions have ambient lighting with 64 colors, and when we open this pocket we see this lighting. But my friends, I must say that this car, as for me, has a very big problem with the ergonomy. Now, because this car built of the same platform which was designed first for the quite big SUV, but here they made the roof level about 20 centimeters lower. Me with 178 centimeters of height, I feel quite uncomfortable here, because this is the lowest position of the driver's seat, and my eyes just looking almost in this sunshade as you see it is here. It is very well finished with Alcantara finishing, with magnet cover for the mirror and for the light, and at the same moment it makes me feel a little bit depressed here. I would like to adjust the seat for about 6 centimeters lower or something like that, and many competitors of Avatr actually allow to do it, but here I cannot do it at all, and for me this car is not really comfortable. The second row is much worse than the first row. Just look at this. This is the first car I see something like that. They made a special heel for saving at least some space for the battery. Here everywhere we have the battery pack, and because of this my knees are on the level of my chest, and actually it's even not comfortable for my stomach. And understand me please correctly, this is a 5 meters car which should be luxury saloon, but the rear seats, the second row is totally bad. It's much worse than in almost all of the competitors which I know, like Xiaomi SU7 or Zeekr 001, much worse. And also in terms of equipment and entertainment, they are also worse, because here we don't have the climate control for the second row seaters, such as for example Zeekr have. We don't have ventilation or massage such as Denza N7 have. Here we have only heating for the rear seaters, and only in all versions except of the basic version. One more disadvantage here is how much glass is left in the lowest position. I also don't like it. I think it's not really acceptable. Here we have the same pocket in the door. Here we have the armrest, which is also not comfortable, because when I put hand like that, half of my hand is just hanging like that. So in my personal opinion, this is 2 points out of 10 points for such a big car, and for the car priced at this money. Here I have some space, about maybe 1 fist, so maybe about 10 centimeters. We don't have basically any roof. It's glass, and I don't know how it will be felt when it is very hot outside. Maybe I will test it one day. Luggage compartment is basically one of the worst in the class of this car. It's a more than 5 meter length saloon car, and we have only 350 liters right here. We don't have anything under the floor except the subwoofer system. The finishing here is quite nice. It's a very nice carpet and also nice satin stainless steel. The size of this trunk I will show you right now in the infography. Now I want to show you some details which differentiate some brands with a history. For example, like Zeekr, yeah, it's fresh brand, but it's made by Volvo, a brand with history, and such companies like Avatr, for example, which is owned by Changan, but at the same time they don't have history, they don't have traditions and so on. Now look how this thing is made right here. Now this we have the traces of glue. This already glued, not very nice, and the material inside is not very nice as well. And this part should be the cover between the seats and the trunk, but when the seats are not folded, we have just a gap here, and nobody do like that. Zeekr or BYD would never do something like that, which is look totally not from here. One more thing, if we look here at this seat, here we have some cable which is just put into some hole which was cut inside of the material, and it looks totally bad. And the cheapest BYD for $11,000 probably would not afford to do something like that. At the same time, all the versions have the V2L. It means you can use your car as a power bank, as a storage for electricity, but we don't have any socket, any power socket for 220, 230 volts, not in the luggage compartment, not inside of the interior. At the same time, most of the competitors in this price range, they of course have it. This is the difference between when you have a real brand and when you have something very new without clear marketing strategy, clear branding strategy, and good engineering. In terms of the body, this car has carb weight of 2,200 kilos, and with 4-wheel drive version 2,300 kilos, and it's almost fully made of steel. But here the luggage compartment cover is actually plastic, not even aluminum. The rear fender is also plastic. Here we have the steel with galvanized zinc coating here as well, the front fenders as well, the body crate as well, but here we have the aluminum front cover. The front is about 30 to 40 liters, but and finishing here is quite good. But if you open right here, you see the cheap washers from the just DIY shop, which have traces of some machine finishing. And to speak frankly, Zeekr or for example Denza, they don't do the cars in this way. Ground clearance is very nice. It's 190 millimeters. It's 190 millimeters under the whole body. The body is the sub chassis is totally flat. The finishing of all the covers is very nice. Here we have the aluminum suspension, which is a double wishbone suspension, and as you see, the subframe is made of aluminum aluminium as well. Here you can see even the part numbers of the control arms. Rear suspension is also partially aluminium, rear subframe aluminium as well. Here we have the ground clearance of 246 millimeters, which is quite traditional, that the rear ground clearance is huge. Same as in Avatr 11, we have the system of automatic parking and unparking of the car. We just choose the direction where the car goes in APP, and without the driver inside of the car, it does it totally automatically. We are now driving Avatr 12. This car is with dual motor mode. It is 3.9 seconds from 0 to 100, 650 Newton meters of torque and 578 horsepower. And I'm very surprised because when I started driving it, I was thinking it has optional air suspension, but in fact not. It's normal spring suspension. But this car is so extremely soft, you feel like a little bit like a water mattress. I'm very, very surprised. And later we will have very, very bad road conditions because it's an industrial district of Shanghai. It's called Baoshan, and here former was a very huge steel factory which transferred to another province, to Jiangsu province. And I'm surprised how this car driving nicely on the really, really bumpy roads. At the same time, because of this soft suspension, it's a little bit complicated to deal with the power of the car, which is more than 570 horsepower. And when I accelerate from 50 or something, I feel that of course the car of course, this soft suspension has the reverse side of the medal, because when I add power, it's more than 570 horsepower, the car heals a little bit, and sometimes you feel a little bit not safe, but generally I like the handling of this car. I definitely like it. No need to get used to it at all, and I can do some quite crazy things here in the city. For example, something like that. I don't need to get used to the car at all, and the car doesn't feel big despite being big. The disadvantages here, the obvious disadvantages, we have now very hot weather, and here I don't have any roof at all. It's completely glass, and I feel the heat from the glass, despite probably it's a good quality, a thermal glass. Anyway, I feel it just roasts my hair, so I prefer there would be normal roof, at least in this place. One more disadvantage, this huge 35.4-inch screen. It's very informative, but this part sometimes it's totally under the sunlights, under the sun rays, and in this time I don't see the information from the autopiloting system, and they should make the sunshade here a little more big. Now we go to the energy consumption, and this is probably one of the most weird thing which I saw in this car, because we could not find the energy consumption like total for the whole life cycle of this car, which is currently 9,675 kilometers. I just see the current energy consumption, which is 36.6 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and of course it's quite a lot. This car has English menu, of course you can change it here, and it changes in just a second, because of the Harmony AS system is very fast. The car is very quiet inside. Here we can do the acceleration. Yeah, it's really fast. I believe in 3.9 seconds without any problems. In this, I believe. This car is almost as fast as the Zeekr 001 of the previous generation. And what I should say, the mirrors are extremely huge, extremely nice, and I think these mirrors may be even bigger than in Avatr 12. And the most important thing that here, when driving, I don't feel this pressure of the roof. I must say this effect is not so important, because I'm concentrated on the road much more than when I was sitting in the showroom. So generally this biggest disadvantage for the first row seaters for me is almost vanished when I started to driving this car. Friends, I must say that this car is driving much better than Avatr 11. Yeah, I drive the last time Avatr 11 maybe about 4 months ago, but anyway, I feel this car is better, is more refined, and is faster. From 0 to 100, I no doubt it can do in 3.9 seconds, and which Avatr 11, I'm not sure it can do it, and actually doesn't feel fast at all. By the way, here we don't have the rear glass, we have the rear view streaming mirror, same as in Polestar 4, and it's no problem for me at all, especially taking into account we have the huge side view mirrors. Now, friends, we will make the acceleration from 0 to 100 in this safe place. 1, 2, 3. it's already more than 100, and this car, I believe it can do it in less than 4 seconds. It's really fast car, it's pleasant in driving, and I must say that driving is much better than I expected, and for sure better than Avatr 11, at least that version of Avatr 11 which I used to drive. Maybe it was previous version. We have performed the test drive. I've told you everything about the specification of this car, and I must say this car is very, very controversial. There are objective problems, like for example the steering wheel, which is not acceptable for active steering. The panoramic sunroof is really making my hair hot. Also there are some quality issues. At least the competitors of this car do a little bit better quality. The suspension is very soft, and basically it's very good for bumpy roads, but it is a little bit sounding with the appearance of a sports sedan. Also, the specification is a little bit lower than such competitors as, for example, Zeekr 001, and the battery level, the floor level in the car is no big problem for the first row seaters, but it is a big problem for the second row seater. The second row here is not convenient, the trunk is small. At the same time, what I must say as a conclusion, if you like this car, if you like the appearance of this car, if you accept the price, and if you accept the specification, basically you should buy it, because it's not bad. I like how it drives. But of course, if you're thinking more with a pragmatic point of view, and you're thinking more using brain, not your heart, then of course Zeekr 001 or for example Denza N7 are more advanced cars, and cars of a little bit higher and higher quality. That is the most important. Anyway, please subscribe to my channel. If you want to ask any questions, please ask me in the comments, and please leave a comment if you like this review or not, and what do you think about Avatr 12. Thank you, and waiting the next videos.